Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, while both Bitcoin and Ethereum are still playing out the short-term bullish divergences, we're seeing Ethereum form a new pattern that we need to pay attention to, while the Bitcoin liquidation heat map is telling us where Bitcoin might be heading next. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment. Definitely stick around. First of all, just giving you a quick update here on the daily Bitcoin chart, and right now the bearish divergence is still playing out. So once again, I would not be expecting any significant bullish momentum, at least in the short term, because as always, a bearish divergence means we're due to see a reduced bullish momentum, which usually plays out in the form of either choppy sideways price action or a slight pullback in the price of Bitcoin, which so far has been playing out as expected. And staying on the daily time frame, looking at the DXY, obviously we're still in this bounce to the upside from the local low in the DXY, which once again is a warning signal for Bitcoin and crypto. Because as you can see just by looking at this chart right here, when the DXY or US dollar index is bouncing back to the upside, that is usually bearish for Bitcoin and crypto. And staying on the daily time frame, of course, the price of Bitcoin is technically still within this ascending parallel channel, running into this ascending line of support, which is sitting just above $40,000, more specifically around 40.3K. And so technically speaking, based on the price action alone, we have not fully confirmed a bearish trend reversal because we have not yet broken to the downside from this bullish ascending parallel channel. But with that being said, if you're looking at the daily Bitcoin RSI, obviously this is already trending to the downside, forming lower highs and lower lows. And usually when the price oscillators begin trending to the downside, like for example the RSI, if it begins trending to the downside while the price is struggling to maintain the bullish trend, basically that's a sign of weakness for the bullish trend, and usually happens just before we see some more bearish price action. And so once again, just by looking at the daily time frame, we do have a few different factors pointing towards possibly a little bit more of a pullback, or at the very least a sideways consolidation before more bullish price action later on, but not in the short term here. Because once again, while the bearish divergence is still playing out, once again, I would not be expecting any significant bullish momentum, and especially while the DXY is bouncing to the upside, once again, that usually leads to some bearish price action for Bitcoin and crypto. But of course, this is looking at the daily time frame, so I'm talking about the coming days or weeks, possibly over the next month or so. But when you're talking about a year from now or multiple months from now, I'm still very much bullish on the much larger time frames like the weekly chart. And also in the imminent short term, like much smaller time frames, we do have some small bullish patterns, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But first, taking a look at the 4-hour time frame. And as you can see, we're currently bouncing from this significant area of support, which I've talked about recently on the channel. And that area of support is sitting in between around 40,500 to 41K. And on top of the price bouncing from that important area of support, we also have a small bullish divergence playing out on the 4-hour time frame, with lower lows confirmed in the price in the candle closes and higher lows confirmed in the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI. And we also have an even smaller bullish divergence here on the 1-hour chart, which I mentioned in my last video, because once again, we confirmed lower lows in the price in the candle closes and higher lows in the RSI on the 1-hour time frame. And so like I said in my last video, we're most likely going to see either a slight bullish relief or most likely some choppy sideways price action, at least over this weekend. Because remember, on the 1-hour time frame, we're talking about the imminent short term, the much smaller moves here in the price of Bitcoin. And so we're most likely once again going to see some choppy sideways price action for the rest of this weekend. And another reason to back that up is simply to do with the fact that the spot Bitcoin ETFs do not trade on the weekend, because of course the spot Bitcoin ETFs trade on the US stock market, so they're trading when the US stock market is open, which is on weekdays. And if you've been watching any of my recent videos here on the channel, you would know about the selling pressure caused by specifically the Grayscale spot Bitcoin ETF, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which is holding a lot of Bitcoin under the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, but they do have very high fees, meaning a lot of Bitcoin is looking to exit Grayscale. And basically for that money to exit Grayscale, they're having to dump Bitcoin, dump the underlying Bitcoin that's backing the ETF, which is causing a lot of selling pressure, mainly caused by just the Grayscale Bitcoin ETF. But once again, those ETFs only trade on weekdays. And so once again, due to all of that, as I said in my last video, we're most likely going to see relatively boring price action over the weekend, nothing too significant, and probably a bit of a relief from all of that bear bearish price action just over the weekend. But perhaps when Monday comes around again, when the stock market opens back up again, of course, we could potentially see more selling pressure caused by grayscale. And so essentially right now, we're seeing a bit of a pause in the dump just over this weekend. So we're most likely once again going to see either some choppy sideways price action or a little bit more of a bullish relief for the rest of this day. And as for short-term support and resistance, once again, we've bounced from this important area of support. And as for resistance, we have this area of resistance, which was previous support, which is sitting in between around 42.4K to around 42.7K. And above that, we also have some more resistance sitting at around 43.3K and more resistance at around 44.3K. And so even if this slight bullish relief in the short term continues, obviously we can potentially get rejections from those important areas of resistance. But either way, whether the price is bullish or bearish, you can make money in either direction using long positions or short positions. And personally, I take those trades over on Bybit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account, you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And so I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitflex in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link to make a Bitflex account and deposit $100 worth of crypto or more and make one trade over on Bitflex, then you can get 10 USDT completely for free. And so if you're trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take the next trade, you might as well get set up ready to go on one of those exchanges using those links down below this video if you want to get those extra bonuses. But anyway, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and right now we have a lot of liquidity to the upside and some liquidity to the downside. First of all, looking at the liquidity to the downside, we do have this level right here, which is sitting at around 41.2K. And to the upside, we have some liquidity at around 42K to 42.1K. And so at least in the imminent short term, it's likely that the price is going to bounce around in between those two levels that I just mentioned. But if we do end up seeing a little bit more of a bullish relief due to this short-term bullish divergence right here over the next one day or so, then some potential price targets based on liquidation levels based on areas of liquidity are, first of all, sitting at around 43,000 to 43.1K. We have a lot of liquidity right around there. And we also have more liquidity at around 43.3K and a lot of liquidity at around 43.7K. And so once again, just in the imminent short term, it's likely we're going to bounce around in between 41.2K to 42.1K. But like I said earlier, if we do end up seeing a little bit more of a short-term bullish relief, then those liquidation levels to the upside are potential short-term price targets. But if we don't hit those higher price targets by the time we see Monday come around and the stock market opens up again, once again, we might not hit those very soon if we see the stock market open up and a lot more selling pressure due to grayscale. But anyway, getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily time frame, and right now the bearish divergence is still playing out as expected. So once again, I would not be expecting any significant bullish momentum, at least in the short term, and instead we're most likely going to see either some choppy sideways price action, if not a pullback here in the price of ETH. And as I said in my last video, we just saw a bearish cross here in the daily Ethereum MACD, and this has now been confirmed with a daily candle close. And so basically what this is telling us is that right now we're seeing an increased amount of bearish momentum, at least in the short term, which once again is a short-term bearish signal telling us that we could potentially see some slightly lower prices. But while this short-term correction is playing out, obviously right now the price of ETH is potentially forming a falling wedge pattern here on the 4-hour time frame. Because as you can see right here, we have this descending line of support and this descending line of resistance. And if you're looking at the line of resistance based on the candle wicks, this creates these two converging lines, obviously forming a falling wedge pattern. And so at least in the imminent short term, while this pattern is forming, obviously we're seeing a correction in the price of ETH. But if we end up seeing a confirmed breakout above this resistance, which is sitting at roughly around 2.5K, then in that case, that would set up a bullish price target, which is sitting at around the local highs, sitting closer towards around 2.7K. But remember, while the price is still within the pattern because we have not yet seen a confirmed breakout above resistance, obviously that potential price target to the upside is not yet in play. This pattern is not yet active because we have not seen any confirmed breakout above resistance. And so at least for now, once again, in the short term, we are trending in the more bearish direction, especially while the price is in this descending parallel channel here on the 4-hour time frame, because once again, we have this descending line of support and a descending line of resistance. And this time, if you're looking at the candle closes, it creates more of a parallel channel. And so either way, once again, in the short term, we're currently looking bearish, trending in the bearish direction just on the 4-hour time frame. And as for support and resistance, right now, this line of support is sitting at around 2380 to 2390, and this line of resistance is sitting at around 2530. And so ideally, in order to flip more bullish again in the short term on the price of ETH, we need to see a confirmed breakout above 2530 with some candle closes above that level. But at least for now, just right here in the imminent short term, obviously a very small bullish divergence is playing out here on the 1-hour time frame, as I said in my last video. And so once again, like I said yesterday, this means we're most likely going to see either choppy sideways price action, if not a slight bullish relief just over this weekend. And obviously so far, this has been playing out as expected. We have seen a lot of choppy sideways price action with a very slight bullish relief from the local low. But once again, I would not be expecting this to play out any longer than just this weekend, because when Monday comes around, once again, we could see more selling pressure for Bitcoin, which can really drag down the overall crypto market. But at least over the next one day, once again, I do continue to expect a relatively neutral price action, nothing too crazy. Honestly, some quite boring price action just over the weekend, while those ETFs are not trading. And speaking of choppy sideways price action, looking at the price of Solana on the 4-hour time frame, and that's exactly what we are seeing. We're still seeing a lot of choppy sideways price action in between the golden pocket and this 23.6% Fibonacci level acting as resistance. And in case you're new to this channel, this golden pocket acting as support is sitting in between around $83.50 to $85.50, and this line of resistance is sitting at around $108 to $109. But while the price is basically chopping around in between those two levels, of course, this is perfect for a grid bot strategy, because with a grid bot in this price range right here, you would be making a lot of easy profits passively. And if you want to know how to do that, if you want to know how to make easy profits from this choppy sideways price action, then make sure to watch the video in the bottom left of your screen right now, because that video right there shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action using grid bots, and the video in the top left shows you how you can long or short crypto to make money if the price is bullish or bearish. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.